Hello everybody, welcome back again to the channel. How consistent are we? We back again, hitting it again.
Post that again.
Come on, tell a friend. I don't know, I think it was Jake Paul or something, wasn't it? We back again, hitting it again.
I'm sure that was Cody Coded video on that.
Was it?
I'm sure
Oh, the Dobry brothers.
Yeah. We back again, hitting it
Yeah,
again.
bloody awful. Don't search that. We're going to be talking really predominantly about like losing someone. Like, it doesn't always have to be about death. Maybe it's like just losing someone as a friend, but like losing someone, like grieving, like that kind of thing. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to approach this. But how do you feel when you've
yawned and I look like I'm crying? I promise I'm not crying.
She's gone. She's gone. Ellie, dust. Call the video off. She's gone. What is it like to lose someone that's close to you? If you want to put a specific example, that's up to you.
I don't know. It's like a weird thing to describe, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so weird.
I think every experience, every like person, and like every time you go through it, you kind of go through a different process.
Yeah. Does that
make sense?
Yeah. So do you think this time you lose someone close to you for the first time is different to the second time because of experience?
I think so, because like, I mean, me personally, when I lost my grandma, I was really confused because I was 18 and that was the first time I've ever lost somebody, and I think that's quite rare. Like normally by that age you've experienced like death in the family and stuff, whereas I had never experienced it before until I was 18. So I just kind of was very confused, and I just kind of didn't know how to act. Before
you discuss that, you and your nana were really close, weren't you? Like, you were like, it wasn't just like a nana that you kind of would see every often.
No, like I spent like my entire summers with them, and because my mum and dad at work, like besties.
Yeah, besties.
I don't know. I think I was just really confused at how to act there. Like I didn't know how to handle grief, so it was very confusing. So because it was really confusing, I just like at the start I just kind of pretended that it didn't happen because I just didn't know how. My brain didn't understand how to handle it.
So if you don't mind us asking, how did you first find out?
I was at work.
Yeah.
So like, so she had an accident. I'll not go into details.
Yeah.
So she was in hospital. So we knew she wasn't well, but then it was quite a sudden accident, if that makes sense. But like, it was like a week, and for some reason, on the day, so I'd been in work like a few times while she was in hospital. And I never brought my phone down with us because I was like, oh no, she'll be fine. But for some reason on that day, I said to my manager, I was like, can I bring my phone down because I'm waiting on calls because I don't know whether something's going to happen. Because I knew in my head that was going to be the day she died. And it was.
Was she in hospital at this point?
And it was the day. Like, I just knew. And the same thing happened with my granddad, who just died last year. He'd been not well in bed for a week, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And on the night before, I knew that was going to be the last time I was going to see him. I was like, I just know it.
During them moments where you know you have, like, you were seeing your grandma, you had a feeling with your granddad, you knew.
Yeah.
What is like your first thoughts when you first start thinking, shit, like this actually happening?
I don't know. I think the first thing is just the confusion, because it's like if I think, like, can you like agree with this? Like, you kind of go through that confusion of like, shit, I don't think I'm like actually not going to see them again.
Yeah, so that like realization.
Yeah, that's like the weirdest part. Like when you're like, I'm actually not going to be able to. I'm literally not going to see them again. I think that's when you're like what? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, I'm not going to like move into London.
Yeah.
I'm not going to see them for a few months.
Yeah.
But you can kind of accept that because you will see them again.
Yeah.
When someone dies, you're like, yeah, like you're like, fuck.
Like, it's so confusing.
You can't explain it because your brain, when you think of things, well, at least that's what I got told, when you think of something, you try and think of a logical reason why it happens. So your grandma dying, you think of it a lot. Well, okay, she's dead, but where's she gone? Like, where's...
Yeah, that's what I stress out about that. Like, because do you know, like, where like when we kind of swirl into things where we're talking about something can be completely random, and we're like, but I don't understand. Like, it's just about the universe. We'll just be like how you were saying the other day, like, I don't understand why I can't grow back limbs. Like, it's just shit like that. Yeah. But like, so when I'm talking about something,
don't
like,
ask.
So when I'm talking about stuff like that where it's like deep, like, it just, I don't understand. So I'm like, where did they go? Surely you can't just disappear. Like, it confuses us.
It's stressful, isn't it?
Like, I believe in like symbols and shit.
Yeah, like what? Like when you've talked about was it a bird or something?
Me grandma, I see hers white feathers.
White feathers.
So
sorry,
whenever
yeah.
they show up, I think she's there. And then when robins show up, I think my granddad's there.
Yeah, because there's a robin at the end of your guard.
Yeah,
on
one showed
the
up at work
fence.
the other day as well.
The what?
One showed up at work the other day.
Oh,
as
did
well.
it? See, something like that.
Like little things like that. I think it's just nice.
Is that our grieving way of remembering them?
Probably.
Is it without it actually being that is actually them?
Probably. I mean, like, obviously everyone's got their own beliefs of what happens after death, because obviously, like, there's religion, and then, like, obviously everyone's just got their own theories and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, personally, I'm just confused. Like, I know you're dead. It doesn't... Why? It doesn't make sense. Like, we're gonna die one day.
Alright, well, enjoy your fucking tea while you're eating this. They'll
So
be fuming. That's their day room, and now thinking that we're gonna die.
I'm having a crisis.
They're fuming. With your grandma, what was the grieving process? I know what it is, but like,
Yeah.
you went out a lot to drink,
Yeah.
didn't you? And just didn't accept it.
Yeah, I just... Because, I mean, that was when she was, like, still in hospital. I was just like... I just kept going out to try and, like, pretend it wasn't happening.
Mm.
So I'd just be like, oh, yeah, like, friends were going on a night out, instead of, like, sitting at home and spending time with my family. Because, like, I would visit her, but she wasn't there. So, like...
What do you mean at the cemetery?
No, like, when she was in hospital. Like,
Oh,
I'd go
okay.
visit her, but, like, she wasn't actually
right,
there
okay.
in her brain. I don't know, it just confused us, and, like,
But you just kind of like, I need to get away.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like that feeling, because I'd never experienced that feeling before. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to pretend it wasn't a thing, and I just kind of pushed it away. Which, like, I remember my dad snapped at us one night, and he was like, what is going on? And then I just cried, and then that's when I kind of... Because once I actually spoke to somebody who was also going through the same thing as I was, and, like, we had a cry together, then I was like, okay, this is happening. I need to accept it.
When you're accepting it, does that help a lot? Because I'm just, for people watching, like, if they're going through that now, is it talking to someone that is hopefully going through the same thing you are?
I don't know, because I think sometimes I still don't think I've fully accepted either of them not being here, because they were there, like, my entire life, basically, like, me whole childhood,
Yeah.
up to, like, 80, and then my granddad 21. Nah, I still think, like, I'm gonna see them. Like, I'll go around to my granddad's house, and I'll think my grandma's just gonna come hobbling down the stairs. Like, I don't know, I just, for some reason, like, my brain just doesn't understand.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have to talk about it, it's just nice to be around people who are feeling the same thing, and
And
like,
they get it.
yeah.
I remember when I was the same age as you, I was 18,
Mhm.
but mine wasn't with my grandma. Mine was with my friend. I've talked about this
Yeah.
before on videos around about when it happened. I remember that was... I've like never felt so sad
Yeah.
during that. So for people context, this is like one of my close friends died when I was 18. He was like 20. He was a couple of years older. He was at uni. I remember I never used to stay at my mum's house, and I was like, Mama, can I just like come to your house for a week and just stay in like my little brother's bedroom? And I just stayed on like this bunk bed underneath my little brother. And I would never go and do that now, you know.
Yeah.
I would never want to sleep in a bunk bed with my little brother.
Yeah.
But like, it was comfort in a way.
Yeah, because it's like...
For some
it's
reason,
just being with your mum,
yeah.
and just being, like, with family and shit.
And I was doing all this YouTube and everything, and I was like, I just literally just wanted... I didn't want this anymore. I was like, it's like you push everything away, don't you?
Yeah.
You kind of get annoyed at yourself, because you're like, why was I annoyed at this? Why?
Yeah.
Sometimes with my friend Sis, who died, there's sometimes where he invited us places, and I went, I can't be arsed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then looking back, I'm like, for fuck's sake. But you didn't, obviously that's just been silly.
You never
yeah.
expect that to happen. Though.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
that's
like,
not your fault. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
But you think that's gonna like you're gonna see them again.
Yeah.
That's what I struggle with, and I still struggle. Like, I remember I've got a photo of him up there, and I was looking yesterday, just at when, you know how we just look at all them photos,
Yeah.
and I looked at him yesterday, and I, like, obviously he's always like, that photo's always there, but
Yeah.
some days I look at it and I'm like, fuck, and then for like 5 minutes I'm just thinking. So, and that's 2 years after.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine one that's like for his mum, for his brothers. He had brothers, for his girlfriend at the time. I I can't imagine what that's like for them who are
Yeah.
even closer. Because I think it's hard when it's sudden, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's really unfair when it's like young as well.
Yeah.
Like when they're so young, it's like it's always even that extra bit of unexpected.
Mm.
Because like say like if someone's going through an illness, you kind of have time to prepare yourself a little bit. It's still unfair, but you've got that time to kind of grieve a little bit beforehand because you know it's happening.
Prepare. Yeah.
Yeah, because so
literally.
you can mentally prepare yourself. Whereas like if it's something sudden, then it's always like a shock, isn't it? It's like it's the initial shock and confusion where you're like, wait, what?
You get that like sick, like that horrible chesty feeling,
Yeah.
don't you? And you're like, oh my god. Do you know that kind of thing?
Yeah.
And then you're like, and you're breathing and
Yeah.
everything, and it just literally hits you like a ton of bricks.
Totally.
Do you think you can ever get over it?
I don't know.
Like in years to come?
I mean, I think so. I think it's not really getting over it. I think it's more like learning to live without that person.
And to deal with it?
You know, like say like my granddad, him and my grandma were together, since they were 14 or something.
Yeah.
Like married that time anyway. So and they did everything together. Like, do you know how like some like most like couples will like have their own hobbies and do their own things? Like they literally did everything together. So then, when she first died, or even when she was in hospital, he was like very, like didn't know what to do with
yeah.
himself, and like I think it's still quite hard.
That must be hard.
But like you can see, obviously, it still hurts him, but it's not. A few years later, he kind of has his own routine going now. So
And
I think
he's learned to deal with it.
He's learned to live.
Yeah.
He's learned to live a new way of life.
But I think when you learn coping mechanisms to deal with it, that's where you can kind of get in a rhythm, and you'll always miss them. But it's like there's another one like this happened recently with me. What you know is another one of my friends died, but he was older, Alan. Because every time I'd go back to Newcastle, I'd always go and see him. Like I remember he was coming up to do like a show, and I was gonna be at the show for him, and he was gonna cut my hair, and he booked hotels for us. I was like you don't need. Like, he was always like lovely, and he'd always like ask about my YouTube, and I'd literally known him for ages. Must be like close to fucking 10 years. Suddenly, no one, I don't think, had any incline that I was speaking to him like a couple of days before he just died.
Yeah, it was like unexpected.
Just literally, and I remember being like, fuck.
Next one, I remember that day because I remember when you said it and you were like trying to figure out if it actually happened or not.
Yeah.
When you first heard the news, you were like, wait, what? Really?
And
You
Alan,
didn't believe it?
yeah, and Alan in South Shields is quite a big figure, so he was in the Gazette, which is like the paper. So then that's how I was like, fuck, that's actually, and I asked a few people that I knew as well. Yeah, that one hit like a fucking ton of bricks as well, but I knew ways to deal with that because of the first time.
Yeah.
It wasn't, it still was, it was awful and dreadful, but I knew, right, when I feel like this, I need to do this, because that's how you cope with it. And like I say, it's so much worse for like their family who are like actually like, I know Alan has so many friends, but he had a wife and he had 2 lovely young kids.
Yeah.
And that's just horrendous for them. Bless them. It's that sudden thing which no one can explain it, can they?
Yeah, definitely.
To round it off, do you believe that they live, it sounds cringy, but do you believe that they like live on in here? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I've already said how I like believe in like symbols.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm quite like, I'm not like fully spiritual, but like I do believe that there's something, but I don't know what. Like,
Yeah.
I fully believe that when you die, you can't just, that amount of energy that's in a person can't just disappear.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. Like, I don't think it's all spooky ghosts and shit. But surely humans hold this much energy and whatever, that when you die, it can't just go poof. Like, it's got to
go somewhere. But that's like,
it can't just disappear.
that's like the logical thing though, is it isn't like you're saying what you're believing in is a being which is bigger than the humans. So are you saying like it's obviously getting into conspiracy and everything, yeah. So we're gonna keep this sort of thing.
Yeah.
But are you saying that it has to go somewhere?
yeah, I don't know. Like, and I always think, like, even if you don't believe in stuff, like, 'cause obviously I know that people will be listening and be like, oh, that's just bullshit. Even if you don't believe that anything happens and you're just gone, it's always nice to remember that, like, the memory of them isn't gone, if you know what I mean. Like, you always, like, so, like, at family gathering stuff, we always tell stories about, like
they live on like that, yeah.
And, like, we always have a laugh and, like have a smile because we're, like, telling stories about them, and you need to remember that stuff like that is always gonna be with you, like the stories and, like, happy memories and shit.
Yeah.
I'm literally, like, saying, like, a nice thing, going, happy memories and shit.
You don't necessarily have to believe that they live on, but you can believe in yourself that they're living on.
Yes.
It's, do you know what I mean? Like, you can...
Because I'm skeptical about whatever fuck happens, but I still, whenever I see a white feather, I always think, oh, I wonder if it's my grandma. Or if I see a robin, I'm always like, oh, I wonder if it's my granddad.
Which is a really good part of the... Well, not really good part, but which is a positive of the grieving process where you can remember them from other things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good way around that off. If you want to, by the way, like, if you feel comfortable by commenting your story, like kind of what you've been through, it, like, to get it out, feel free to use this as, like, a safe space. And if you want to watch, we did a video on mental health. Click right there. Are you going to point?
If you're having sad vibes.
Yeah, if you're having sad vibes.
Or if you want to pick
right
yourself up, go watch one that we talk about pegging and blowjobs.
Yeah, right, we'll see you in a bit, okay. Bye.